Hey, ladies, and welcome back to the Blossoming Mama podcast. My name is Destynie, and I am so excited to bring to you this episode. It is truly going to bless you. It is a conversation with someone who is just a remarkable human being. I was reminded of that after this conversation, how much I truly love this person. Her name is Kelli, and she is a doula and birth worker. She's the founder of Maternity Journey and the Kinsey Keeper program, which are two supportive programs for women, specifically young first-time mothers in the Houston area. She does a much better job of explaining her programs and the things that she offers in the episodes. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it here because she does a great job on her own. In this episode, Kelli and I touch on so many things, but number one, she shares her breadth of knowledge and experiences as a mother herself and as a birth worker who has personally supported women throughout their pregnancy into their birth in a range of settings. So hospital, birth center. I think she's done a home birth as well. We didn't talk about that in the episode. And then in their postpartum period. During this episode, she talks about working with first-time moms and some of the general trends that she notices with working with this population. She gives advice on where to start when you're just finding out that you're pregnant or when you're thinking about being pregnant. And she also talks about how to navigate each phase of pregnancy leading up to the birth. And I can't wait for you guys to hear, because Kelli shares the single most important lesson to learn when deciding to enter motherhood. Y'all, I am so excited for you to hear this episode. So let's get into it. Why do you see mostly single moms? Or like, what's your program?
Yes. So the why, I have no idea. I think God just said this is where you would relate, or people would relate to you more. And so you need to be in
Mm,
this space because maybe I'm more understanding or whatever the case may be. But I felt like a lot of the moms that I was attracting, they were first time, and they may have, been in a situationship, or maybe they were in a relationship and then it didn't work out and they ended up pregnant. And they didn't have anyone really that
mhm.
was going to their appointments, doing different things like that. And at the time, I was available, okay? And
Mm,
I was definitely extending my support to those moms because my heart was there, especially because I don't feel like we're supposed to do this alone. I don't feel, I don't believe, and I know we're not supposed to do this alone.
yeah.
So I felt called to support them in that way by just simply even just offering them information because, I'm a different breed. So I was already infatuated with this world, and to
Yeah.
have someone who didn't know anything, not even a lick about ovulation, I
Hmm.
felt called to inform them. And a lot of my clients started off as like my friends because I was doing the work before I knew I was doing the work. So one of my
Mm,
best friends, like she was pregnant in college and all of the different things. And I had classmates that were pregnant in college and they would come and ask me. So it just, like I said, just kind of was the flow and it just would happen. And my sister actually was 16 and pregnant. So she was single mom as well.
yeah.
Unfortunately, my niece passed away. So there were some things that led up to that. And I feel like it had a lot to do with just her lack of support or lack of knowledge about
Yeah.
how to mom and, do the things. And so
Hmm.
I felt like there was something that I needed to do to honor my niece and
Yeah.
also honor my call or this purpose that I felt like I was supposed to fulfill.
Hmm.
And so I created a program. In being a doula, of course, with your own practice, you're trying to find your way. And I felt my way found me. And
Yeah.
so I created this program because I was like, these single moms, these first time young women, they don't even know what a doula is, let
Yeah.
alone to have the money to pay for a doula.
Hmm.
So at the time, I had paying clients and I had volunteer clients, and the volunteer clients were who I served through our Kinsey Keeper program. So that is
Hmm.
still very true. Today we have a it's a community-based volunteer service where young first-time single moms can receive doula support, and that's
Hmm.
birth doula support. So through that, like I said, I just feel like the clients were coming to me. It wasn't like I was
Yeah.
dishing or fishing them out. I was like, they were coming to me, coworkers, friends of friends, whatever the case may be. Um, yeah, so I've been doing this program supporting young first time single moms, and I'm very specific about that because
Mm-hmm.
it is a group. It's a group that needs the information. It's a group that has those jitters, or they have those doubts, or they have those anxieties around pregnancy, and they may be the one that wants to be a mom or has the dream of being a mother, but their motherhood calling came at an inopportune time. So
Yeah.
I want to be the one to offer them that non-judgmental support and let them know like they can still live their life and be as great as they are now with the baby on the way
Yeah.
because it's possible. So
Yeah.
that's my work. That's my line of work, and that's where I spend a lot of my energy.
When did you
Um,
start?
I feel like
When
oh
did you
I
start?
so yeah I started. Oh wow, I want to. I let's just clump it all together because I want to say 2018
Okay.
because that's when I got officially trained, but I was doing it before. Like I was attending, like I said, my best friend's birth, and I had clients, or not clients, but I had friends that I would like go to their appointments and stuff like that. So I was doing the work before 2018, but officially trained professionally
Hmm.
in 2018. And so y'all do the math.
But I
Mhm.
wanted to ask was because you said you got trained, and that's a question that I know people have. Like most people have, they've heard like of a midwife, but they definitely haven't
Mhm.
heard of a doula. Not always. I think it's becoming
Mhm.
more of a thing, and
Mhm.
something that I think is a big question is like how doulas come to be. And you kind of talked about it, how you were already doing the work. And I think
Mhm.
that is more people than they think. Like more people are doulas than they think.
Yes. Yes.
But when you said trained, can you tell me like what that really means?
Yes. So I want to touch on how do you become,
Yeah.
or how do you get into this?
Hmm.
Honestly, you are literally called to this. And most of the birth workers that I come in contact with, even the newer ones, like they're already doing the work and they didn't know that this was the line of work that they were getting into, you know? And so I think that traditionally, it does have historic markers in slavery. It does, but it still has a familial tradition where, it could be your aunt that's your doula, it could be your sister that's your doula, your mom that's your doula, but it's essentially that professional or that experienced
Mm.
woman that is supporting you with your birth and your labor and helping you to get through one of these hard moments and this very hard transition. And again, like I said, I don't believe and I know that we're not supposed to do this by ourselves. So that's where our family came in, and for one reason or another, maybe war was happening and men weren't in the room, and that's where our family or our sisters came in and just held us and
Hmm.
held space for us. And so I know that that's the tradition and that's where I come from it with, but the original definition, if you look up doula, is woman servant, slave, if
Mm.
you will. And so yeah, so it does have that connotation. But at the end of the day, it's a service. And
Yeah,
the work
it's
that
serving.
many of us do, exactly, it's service, it's serving others. And so
Hmm.
I do interchangeably use doula and birth worker
Hmm.
because I understand that, having slave, um, that slavery mindset
Yeah.
can deter people. But as a birth worker, I know that encompasses more of what I do because I'm not just supporting the births.
Yeah, right.
But But
Well,
I
there's
do
a lot
think
that goes
that,
along with birth,
right, exactly.
right?
Birth, it's a journey. It's a
Yes.
complete journey. So I know that a lot of women, well, in the state of Texas, I know that it is not um, regulated. It's not
Mhm.
regulated. So you don't have to be trained and certified to do this work. Even as a midwife, you don't have to be trained or certified necessarily to do the work.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, I'm a real, like, my mom has instilled in me that education is a huge value, but having the papers is even more so.
Mm-hmm.
So I, of course, went to university, graduated from the Purdue A&M University. Easy, you know.
Whoop,
But
whoop.
yeah, so yes. So I did go to university. I graduated and all the things. And while I was in school, you go to find yourself. And I was like, dang, I think I found out what I want to do, but I didn't even need to go to school to do it. So I had the discipline, but now it's like I need the training. So
Yeah.
I just chose to get the training, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to go through a program that allowed me to do it in person.
Okay.
There were several programs that were offering online training, but I needed the hands-on.
Right.
And I wanted it to be local. So with my search, I discovered Doula. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
that is where I received my trainings for really all of my work
Mm-hmm.
as a birth, as a postpartum doula, as a childbirth educator. I did go through my trainings in this organization.
Mm-hmm.
They have evolved. They have evolved since I first started. And that's all
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say on that.
Okay.
I just think that when you go into this world, you have to decide what angle you're taking because that's going to help you or help the universe align you with the clients that you need to
Yeah.
take on.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I didn't get a lot of people asking me, like, where did I get certified or can you show me your certification? Like, it
Right.
wasn't anything like that. And I don't think a lot of us workers run into that
Mm-hmm.
problem. Once you have the confidence and you are out here doing the work, like it speaks for itself. You don't really need to have the proof, if you will.
Yeah. What are some of the
Have
things that you're learning there? So you said hands-on. Can you,
Oh, so we're
are they
learning
bringing you to births? Like what does that look like?
no. So
Okay.
it's not any shadowing opportunities. There are some birth workers that will do like shadow opportunities and that kind of thing. But when you get trained, you really um what's the word I'm looking for? It's like when you go to work and you get trained
Mm-hmm.
and they have you sitting down and you learn about the whole
Oh, like
line of work.
orientation,
Yes,
kind of
you
like
learn
that.
about everything.
Okay.
And it's for 3 days, 2 to 3 days, and you're just sitting and you're learning. And then the last day, I remember that we did more comfort measures, like learning about sacral pressure and hip
Mm-hmm.
squeezes and using the rebozo, like different things like that. That was probably the only hands-on part of it that we received. And after that, it was kind of like, well, with the certification, you do have your book work, so you got to read the books, do the test, and then there's births that you have to go through certifying births. And I
Mm-hmm.
only had to do three, the world is a little different these days, but I only had to do three.
Mm-hmm.
And
And you just needed to
yeah,
go
so
and
I got my cert.
so you were
Yeah,
saying
you have
you
to
need to
go for
go ahead.
you have to actually support them like the
Okay.
whole way. You have to do their prenatal, you have to do at least three, I think, I can't remember, but it was like 2 or 3 prenatal sessions. You had to attend their births for so many hours, and you had to support them postpartum, like immediate postpartum, and
Okay.
then do a visit postpartum. So
Okay.
it was like a whole package that you were
Yeah.
offering these three clients. And gratefully I was able to do it with like my cousin friend, so I was able to test the waters with her for my certifying birth. And then I was um I was blessed enough to have a family that selected me through the what's it called? Doulamatch.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then, oh yeah, then my other client, it was a referral. Like she just came from another doula and the
Oh,
doula didn't have any capacity. So she came to me and I was like, yeah, sure, I can do it. And so those are my
yeah.
three families. Shout out to y'all. Y'all know who you are because I be talking about y'all still. But
Now, is there a requirement, like does it have to be a hospital birth, a home birth, like anything like that?
no,
Okay.
no. I wanted to experience all, but at that time it wasn't a lot of out of hospital births that
Yeah.
were going on. So
99% hospital birth.
right, right. At the time, I keep saying, "Oh, my bad," but at the time, I only had I only had one birth center birth
Hmm.
scheduled, like
Yeah.
ready. She was already in the process of doing that, and which this is why I love the work because it is. I don't know. I did have to do a little convincing, and I do feel like I do a little convincing,
Hmm.
but I ended up helping a mom decide because she was super early, like super, super early on in her journey. So she needed to find a provider, the whole nine. So those
Mm.
are other things that birth workers can do depending on how soon you secure your doula. And just keep
Yeah.
in mind, like most people do ask, they're like, how early can I get a doula or how late can I get a doula? And
Hmm.
it's really at any point. It just kind of depends on who's available, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who has a cutoff for when they would accept clients,
Hmm.
but I do know that at least in our program, we start to take on clients as early as 10 weeks. So, it
Yeah,
just
that's
depends on what their practice is. But you can do it as early as ever. And this
hmm
particular mom, she was literally like, she just peed on the stick. Okay. She just peed on the stick. And she was like, excuse me, she was securing a doula. And I was like, wow, you're really getting the job done. And she thought that I was a midwife at first. So that was
okay.
where the connection happened. And I told her, I was like, well, no, I'm not gonna catch your baby.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna help you catch your baby. Okay. So she was like, oh, so you don't do home births? And I was like, okay, let's back up. Let's back up. So I had to explain that to her. And then she was like, oh, so you can help me find my midwife. And I was like, yeah, I can help you with that. And so she ended up birthing at a birth center. So
Hmm.
that was my first official birth center birth. And after that, it was wild because I did end up helping some moms like switch providers and they ended up going to a birth center. And that was kind of how I was able to see that world. And then, of course, I was supposed to attend your birth at a birth center, but we
Yes.
know how that went down.
Yes.
So I know that those were like, I was planning for I was really trying to get that experience under my belt. And I had it, but it wasn't like I had it at the places that I wanted to have it at
Yes.
because I wanted to, be able to see what all the birth centers in Houston were like.
Yeah.
But I really only got to support moms at North Houston Birth Center because, like I mentioned, a lot of my moms are young first timers. And so
Hmm.
they are taking advantage of Medicaid. And
Hmm.
so that's one of those humps. And only a few birth centers accept Medicaid and certain plans. So
Yeah.
that's how I ended up in that situation. But yeah.
So there was a couple of things that came up, and I was thinking about what are some of the things that you notice with first time moms, and you kind of talked about it a little bit, like number one, they might not know the difference between a doula and a midwife, right? So that's
Mm-hmm,
one thing.
mm-hmm,
And if they don't know that, that's more reasonable because it's alternative. But what are some of the
mm-hmm.
other things that you notice that you're spending a lot of time educating them on in the beginning?
Um, I think that I spend a lot of time helping moms understand what's considered common in pregnancy
Mm,
because a lot of them feel like every little symptom is a problem.
yes.
Like, I'm throwing up too much. Is everything okay with my baby? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, it's okay. Everything's fine. Um, And I also feel like I'm constantly having to let them know, like, this is a part of the process. This is a
Mm.
part of the process. And one thing that I still have not been able to relate to, and I just pray that I do not get to experience it. I don't want to be able to firsthand experience it. It's like morning sickness, and
Yeah.
the morning sickness that carries over into the second trimester, third trimester, all
Yes.
of that stuff. Like, I don't know
Those are my
what that's like.
pregnancies.
Yes, and I have no experience with that. It's
Mm.
my personally, but a lot of my clients did. And I was just like, oh, the best thing I can tell you, I started looking up things. I'm like doing research on herbs you could try
Yeah.
and all these things. But that is like one of the biggest things. And a lot of women are super discouraged, especially first timers. They're like, I'm not doing this again because
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z.
It
And
it can be
so,
very miserable, that the
yes,
morning
and
sickness, especially if it's all day for long
yes,
chunks of time.
educating them on that is very huge because again, they still feel like something is wrong and that's why
Hmm.
they're going through that. Another thing is just medical terminology and just what the world looks like.
Hmm.
I feel
Like the
like
medical world, you mean?
yes,
Okay.
on both spectrums. It can be with a midwife or it can be with an OB.
Hmm.
And I think that my well, as I've practiced, I've started to create like my flow of sessions where I feel like if I'm getting a first time mom, this is the kind of information she needs to know.
Hmm.
And so I heavily focus on not just the prenatal care, of course, that's huge for me, making sure they're active and all of those things, because a lot of
Hmm.
first time moms are not. They feel like they have an excuse to be pregnant potatoes. That's what I call it. Like
Hmm.
pregnant potatoes on the couch all day. Like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So a lot of them do feel like, oh, I'm pregnant, so I can just eat whatever. I can
Yeah.
move however. I'm gonna sit and rub my belly all day. So
Yeah.
I do educate on that. But
Okay,
biggest
well, let's
thing
stay
is,
there because this is where they are, right?
oh, okay.
So, no,
Yes.
they are. This is where they are. And so I definitely agree with you. Like
Mhm.
that nutrition is so important and activity is so important. But
Mhm.
I'm wondering two things. Do you recommend like specific prenatals, like prenatal vitamins? Because
Mhm.
I don't necessarily take them, but I'm curious to know if you do and what you recommend. And then also, can you talk a little bit more about nutrition in general? Because like pregnant women really do think they could eat
Mhm.
whatever they want. And I agree, follow some cravings from time to time. But
Yes.
yes, so let's talk more about that.
This is my home base, okay?
Yes,
Because
spend
I
time
am
on it
plant
because it's
based.
important. Yeah.
Yes, I am plant based. So I don't try to come with a biased perspective on that
Hmm.
because the research that I have done, just the food that we have today is like, it's just toxic. Okay.
Yes, poison.
That's the best word. Poison. Okay. It's poison. And so at the end of the day, it's only so much that we can do here, especially in the melting pot, especially in Texas where everything is
Yeah.
imported. Okay.
Hmm.
So at the end of the day, I just now I try to motivate moms to just make healthier choices. Like, let's just be conscious about what we're eating at this point. Because I think that I've had a lot of clients that really use pregnancy as their excuse to eat whatever and they blame it on the baby. And they're like, the baby wants Texas Roadhouse every Friday. No, the baby does not. The baby you want
I've
Texas
heard this
Roadhouse.
before. This, yes.
Yes. And then it's like the baby just really, really wants ice cream every night. No, I'm pretty sure the baby did not. So being pregnant myself, I didn't even have many cravings. And
Mhm.
I do believe that the reason my pregnancy was smooth and that I didn't have all these complications of cravings was because I was already plant-based before I
Mhm.
walked into it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it does take a lot of preparation prior to, especially for those that are first time and they're planning a pregnancy, then you need to plan a healthier lifestyle.
Mm.
just period. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it starts really with your nutrition, because that is going to dictate the cycle itself. And that
Hmm.
cycle itself is going to dictate your pregnancy. So, pregnancy, Olivia, she's a birth worker. She says pregnancy is the culmination of birth. No, birth is the culmination of pregnancy. That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Birth is the culmination of pregnancy. And at the end of the day, that is so true, but it's more so true with your nutrition over everything. Okay. So for me, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm still researching and defining what the prenatal vitamins are
Hmm.
for me and what I tell my clients. So because I know that 99% of people are birthing in hospitals and they have that medical mentality when it comes to their pregnancy, I know that prenatal vitamins are going to be in the picture, right?
Yeah.
So when I look at prenatal vitamins, I simply encourage moms to choose. My number one thing I say is like choose a vitamin that has folates and not folic acid. That is
Yes.
such a pet peeve of mine. I'm like, oh, it
Yes.
was going great. The vitamins were good, but then you had folic acid.
Hmm.
We
It's in
don't need
everything. I
that.
swear. It's just crazy.
It
Like
is. And it's like when people realize, like, when I have to tell them, I tell them, I'm like, folic acid is synthetic. When you hear the word synthetic, what do you think? And they
fake and
say
poisoning.
fake. Right, exactly. They say fake, they say man made. And I'm like, okay, so do you want the fake version or do you want the organic version?
Yeah.
And they choose from there. Okay, they decide. So at the end of the day, you decide what prenatal vitamin you're going to choose. But again, be conscious about your
Right.
choice and choose one that's going to have more organic options, more whole options. I love a fruit based vitamin because I do tell my moms, like, I'm not really big on you taking a prenatal vitamin because at the end of the
Hmm.
day, that's a supplement. Okay,
Yeah.
it's just simply a supplement. So your habits already need to be at a certain place for this supplement to even be effective.
Yeah.
Okay. So this supplement that you're using, I want you to look at actually what you're actually giving your body on a regular basis. And if you don't have fruits in there,
Yeah. Come on.
we already starting off low.
It's
Okay.
actually
So
shocking the number of people who don't eat fruits and vegetables. Like the number of fully grown
girl,
adults, right?
girl,
And I
girl,
listen,
fully
there's
grown.
things
I
that are
have
challenging for
three
me,
clients right now.
but
Yes,
come on.
and
Come on.
I get it, but I do eat some fruit or something. It's
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I gotta have at least a strawberry.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm that type of person. But I know people who have not touched touched a fruit, and they
Yeah.
get pregnant, and they're like trying to think of fruits that they like, and I'm
Mm,
like, okay, and then
yeah.
they wonder why they have many complications.
Yeah.
So for first time mom in the first trimester, I always tell her, like, focus on fruits. Like, if you're still shopping around for a prenatal or whatever the case may be, focus on
Hmm.
fruits because they do have your vitamins. They do have, some essentials that you would be probably getting from your prenatals.
Yeah.
So, and
How
to
about
touch on the question
water?
again, oh, big on hydration. I always tell my moms, I'm like, I'm not really concerned about everything else. As long as you eat some fruit and you're drinking your water, you're minding your business, you're
Hmm.
stretching, you're gonna have a pretty decent pregnancy because your body's already doing the work. Okay. We're just
Yeah.
supporting our body to do the work. That's what I tell my moms. And if you don't want all these discomforts and you want to complain about certain things, then you want to support your body in doing this work. So that might mean that you are offering your body extra hydration because maybe you started off dehydrated. And I
Yeah.
learned one day, I was like, it takes 2 days to like really fully hydrate. So it's like, look, you got to
Mm,
start from somewhere. And my midwife told me to drink half my weight in ounces. So I would tell my clients to drink half
yeah.
their current weight in ounces. So we do the math and we do that in the session. And I'm like, okay, so that means your goal is about 4.5 water bottles a day.
Yeah.
Can we manage? We can manage that, right? That's
Yeah. I
like
think so
two
many
in the
women could benefit from that. It's it's
completely.
it's intuitive to us but not intuitive for a lot of people, you know?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
okay, so now I'm thinking because most women are going to an OB, they don't have a doula. Um, do you feel like nutrition is a focus with doctors? Like when they go to the doctor, do you think they're getting that same sort of
No,
speech? No. Okay.
no, no. The speech that they get is they do lately. I have heard clients that have had their doctor prescribe their prenatal vitamin,
Hmm.
which I
Interesting.
was like, what? Your doctor prescribed your prenatal
Yeah.
vitamin? And I'm like, okay, this is what they're doing now because again, it's a medical industrial complex. They have to make their money.
Yeah.
So if you're going out and buying your ritual vitamins or your my kind vitamins, you're going out and getting those, like we're
Hmm.
not making any money. So they have
Right.
to prescribe, right? So again, the ones at the doctor's office, they have folic acid.
Yeah.
I
The
saw
doctor, I had a
I
friend
saw
who
that she
said,
was prescribed.
yeah, I had a friend who said her doctor said get a prenatal with folic acid in it. Literally, that was the recommendation.
Oh my
Like
God.
legitimately. I had another friend who had a prenatal vitamin that had red dye in it, red 40. And I don't know if
Oh
you know
yeah.
anything about it, but I
Oh
mean,
yes,
red 40 is the
girl.
worst.
I avoid red 40, blue, two, yellow,
Yes.
anything. If it has a color in the daggone ingredients, then we need
Yeah.
to run away.
Why do
We
we
need to run
need
away
to
because
color a vitamin? Any like that part didn't make sense. I'm like, why do we need to dye it anyway? But so yeah, okay. So you're not seeing these medical providers
no,
focusing on
no, I'm not
nutrition.
gonna say all of them. Let me
Okay.
just say this
Okay.
because oddly, I have a handful of clients that have had a nurse practitioner. And when I hear that they have a
Oh.
nurse practitioner, they are more keen to like their nutrition and what's their physical activity like.
Hmm.
Or if they look at their history, like say if they had a previous pregnancy and they had preeclampsia, they look at that and they try to help them with that. So I
Okay.
understand that, and there are a few OBs that are particular about it, especially like if their lifestyle speaks to a healthier, balanced lifestyle. But the doctors will be the main one to tell you to go eat a burger
Yeah. It's very
for iron or eat a burger for protein or whatever. And I'm like,
yeah.
girl, oh
And
Lord.
there's
But I
not the
always tell them to
quality.
use their brain.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So, okay, now
Use your
moving
brain.
into they've gone through the first part of it, and now we're coming up on tests and the blood tests and the different sort of genetics and things like that.
Hmm.
What's your take on that? Like, I don't want to say too much because I have my own thoughts on it, but just generally, what could you say about it and what is necessary, what may not be,
Hmm.
or go ahead.
Yeah. So first we have to understand that the tradition that our society has created is for women to go to the doctor to get their prenatal care, to get their ultrasounds, their blood
Hmm.
work, to make sure that everything is okay. So they have you thinking that things are not okay and that you have to check and make sure that things are okay off the jump,
Mm.
right?
So a
And for
fear-based.
me, right, it's already walking into and honing in on your emotions and making you feel like there's something that your body has messed up on.
Mm.
And we have to go back to having faith and trusting our bodies that the Most High gave us
Hmm.
and the call that we have been given. And if our body says that a baby can be in here, then things are functioning as it needs to, right?
Hmm.
And we just have to continue to, again, support our body in doing that, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the test can give you a sense of security, but it can also give you a loss of control
Hmm.
because once you hand that over and you start giving all the prenatal care to them and you take every test that they offer you, then you're kind of predetermining how that birth experience is going to look because
Hmm.
now you've already let them take the blood, you already let them do whatever whenever they said they needed to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's still going to translate again because birth is a combination of pregnancy, and that's included in your prenatal care. And so for me, it's another point where moms have to be educated before they take their pregnancy test on the kind of things that you would experience, and
Mm-hmm.
then decide from there, like, what's important to you. Is it important for you to know if your child has any genetic issues while you're pregnant? What is that going to do for you to know? Is
Yeah.
it
So,
going to stress you out, or is it going to, help you to make a decision? I don't know if you want to medically terminate your pregnancy at that point or whatever
right.
the case may be. But at the end of the day, service, what what purpose is it serving? Sorry,
Yeah.
for you to have this test, and start to think about those things prior to. And if you have the capacity, think about those things once you find out, because again, that's a part of the control that you have on deciding, like, do I need to know this? Is this important for me? So
Yeah.
to
And the
to me, oh, go ahead.
so the I think you're making great points, and there's so many tests that are offered. I feel like at this point I can't, like, you would just have to go through and read
Girl.
them, right? But I mean, I'm thinking of, they'll take the blood and they'll test for, a blood cell count and, I think
Hmm. Hmm.
iron and things like that. And then like the
Yeah, they do
genetic
like the regular
tests,
vital. Hmm.
yeah, the
Yeah.
genetic tests are looking for all kinds of rare disorders. Down syndrome could be in there.
Hmm.
I think a lot of
Hmm.
women actually don't really care about the test. They just want to know what the gender is, and that comes
Right.
along with that. But sometimes they
Hmm.
actually care about that. But something that is so true is like if you go and you're standing in this office and they're offering these tests and you haven't done any research beforehand, when you do ask about them, the doctor is just going to say something along the lines of, well, we're just making sure there's nothing wrong with your baby. Like, of course, any
Right.
mother who doesn't know anything, like, yeah, I'm going to do the test because
Because
it's
I
not
want to be a
my
great
baby. But
mom and I want to make sure nothing's wrong
yeah,
with my baby.
but the thing is
Yeah.
that, again, I don't know how many mothers would decide to terminate a baby after they find out. Like, most women would still
Hmm.
continue anyway.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know, what's your experience? Like, have you had, and also I'm wondering, in all of the women that you've worked with or, through your coworkers and peers and things, how many have had something come up with these tests that were like devastating enough to make a decision?
None, actually. I would say none at this point in
Wow.
my experience. I have had a mom that was really, like, she really wanted to know because there was a history in her family.
Okay.
So those are
Fair.
special circumstances,
Yeah.
right? Because there's a history of Downs in her family. She just wanted to know and kind of prepare herself if
Yeah.
that was her reality. And I understand it from that standpoint, but I don't think that it should be this routine thing where
Yes.
everyone has to have it in order for us to do X, Y, or Z. And it's not, that's what I always tell moms, it's not required of you. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, especially when we're looking at paying for it out of pocket using private insurance, these are things that you don't have to do.
Yeah.
These are things you can absolutely say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to come, I probably get myself checked or whatever. And that's a whole nother topic because the prenatal care in the medical field is so, it's okay, this is what I'm gonna just say rawly. It's a
Yes.
waste of
Mm.
time because you sit there and you spend more time in the waiting room than you do with your provider. And I hear it all the time. I just had a client recently. She's went through her whole pregnancy and now she's stressed because their colors have shown, like the fact that she's a number, okay,
Yeah.
and she's realized now that she's a number, and she's like 37 weeks pregnant and
What do
trying
you
to
mean
change a
by a
provider.
number? I don't think I know what you mean, but I don't think my
Oh, she's a
audience
number
might know.
meaning like they're literally just scheduling her.
Yeah.
They're
Like
not
her
spending
OB.
any time, right? The nurses are
Hmm.
scheduling her for sessions. The OB she barely has seen. She's seen more of an MFM because that was a referral from the OB than she's seen her actual doctor. Then on top of that, they don't know anything about her personally. Like they have her file, they still have to guess like, oh, so she's the one that did this or she's the one that did that.
Okay.
because they don't know her personally. It's not a personable experience. It's just like, okay, I'm just here checking the boxes. You got
Yeah.
any questions? No.
You're a
Great. Stop.
patient.
Boom.
You're
Right.
another
You're
patient.
literally,
Yeah.
you're just another patient. And I hate to say just another patient, but right now we're also in a space where we are running out of space they're running out of space to support pregnant mamas because there's
Mm,
a boom of some sort and they're already booked for mamas that are currently pregnant. Like I have moms that are literally not even in their second trimester yet, and they have called around to providers in this area,
mhm.
and those providers are already booked.
Wow.
They're already booked for those that time frame for her due
Yeah.
date.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's even more proof that, you are just a number. Regardless of how they try to make it seem, these doctors are overwhelmed and they paid well, I guess, but
Yeah.
they're paid well and overwhelmed and they have to see so many client patients per half hour.
Yeah.
Okay, per half hour. And so they don't have time to sit and connect with you as a midwife would.
Hmm.
And even midwives are also pretty busy because of the fact that again the OBs are busy.
Yeah.
But back to the prenatal test and everything, I just think that
Well, I was just
we
thinking they definitely don't have time to explain to you these
right,
tests, right? Like
they
if you
don't
ask
they don't
questions, they don't have time to explain it to you.
because they have a waiting room full of other mamas. And if you do have questions, it becomes burdensome because at the end of the day, they're on a time crunch. And if you have a follow up question to the question, it's like,
Mm,
now she's getting
God
annoying.
forbid.
I don't have time. Right. So it's not any time where you can literally have a connection with your provider. And I say this to my clients, I don't think they understand it when I ask in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. I ask, so how comfortable are you with your provider? Do you feel like you have a good connection with them? Do you feel like you can, ask them whatever and or talk to them about whatever? And they're like, oh yeah, they're cool. And then in the middle, it's like, I don't know, I haven't really seen them as much. And then at the end, it's like, I don't even know if I want them to be there, and it's
Wow.
and
That's
it and I
telling.
get the same exactly, and I get the same response. I hate that it's true, but I get the same type of feedback from all moms that I have that are birthing in hospitals.
Wow.
Same feedback. I kid you not. And I hear it every single time that it would like say we're at the end now in third trimester and
Hmm.
they're starting to see their provider like every 2 weeks, every week. And they're like, honestly, Kelli, I don't really know who this doctor is. I don't even know if they're gonna be there. I really
Hmm.
don't feel comfortable with them because this entire time I haven't really seen them.
Yeah.
I've just had a bunch of tests. I've just had a bunch of this. I've just had a bunch of that. And I'm just like, I understand. And I hate to break it to you, but that's just the way of this world right now. And
Yeah.
unless you want to do something different, like go outside of this hospital and have your baby, then we just don't be looking at what we're looking at. And I do
Yeah.
have to prepare them many, many times. And I prepare them, I start now preparing them when they go in for their GBS test
Hmm.
or even their
What's GBS?
glucose test. The GBS test is the Group B streptococci test to determine if it's active or inactive, and it's just supposed to let them know what to do for your labor. So whether or not to administer antibiotics
So
prior
this is
to,
typically
during.
present in the vagina, right? And so they make a big deal about it because
Yes,
there's a
no,
small
it's
percentage.
present around it.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like you can transfer this to your baby in a vaginal birth,
Okay.
but it's again, it's a precautionary thing. So
Yeah. So
they're
there's like a
trying to make
chance.
sure
Go ahead.
there's a chance that it could be active, and they're just trying to make sure, like, okay, if she's positive, then boom, we gonna tell her to come in here when she first starts labor, water broke or not, to come and get this antibiotics to prevent it from being transferred.
And
Although
this is
there are
on the
other
chance
ways
that
around this.
I think there's like 0.07% chance
Yes,
that a baby would actually
would
die,
actually die from it.
right?
Right,
Okay. So just to
right. It's
clarify, like this is a very small
mhm,
percentage, but
very
they
small.
still they'll do that test. When is it? Like in the third trimester, right?
Yeah, it's usually around like 38 weeks that they do it. They try to do it anywhere between 36 and 38, depending on if
Mhm.
you're gonna be induced, that kind of thing. So it just really depends on the provider. But yeah, yeah. So it's really a precautionary. All of it is really
Mhm.
precautionary.
Yeah.
Even with gestational diabetes and doing the glucose test, like that is also precautionary
Yeah.
because if you're gonna have gestational diabetes, the symptoms are gonna show. Like they say that, you won't be able to know. It's only something that we can test this way. But I have had two clients where they declined the glucose test. Well, no, one declined it, the other one, she just missed the opportunity to take it. Like she just didn't go.
Mhm.
But um, both of them showed symptoms of gestational diabetes. Like they were having tingling and they were
Mhm.
going through different symptoms of the diabetic part of it. And then they had their routine appointment and they did a urine sample and caught it basically.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Yeah. So no, this is important. I think because some of the big hitters are like preeclampsia, the like gestational diabetes, I think like the placenta previa, like there's all these like buzzwords that pretty much every woman knows because they just like harp on it and make it such a big deal. But you were saying that one of your clients or two of your clients actually did show symptoms of gestational diabetes. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they did, and I mean, I actually told her like the second one, the one that didn't make the appointment. So it's like she wanted to take the test, but she didn't want to take it with the sample, the drink that they give
Yeah.
you.
The poison.
But yeah, right.
I can't help it. I can't. Oh God.
Like when you see the ingredients on your things, and I just challenge
Red
people every
40.
single time.
It's in there too.
Right. It's like, I just start to ask myself, so do they even know what they give it to the pregnant women?
Yes.
Doesn't
God
really seem
forbid
like
the
they do.
woman actually has diabetes and you've given
Right.
her a coma level of sugar. It makes no sense at all.
It makes no sense at all to me. And it's just mind boggling. And then but some women, it's weird, it's odd because some women look forward to that because
Yeah.
they're like, this is a thing that I'm supposed to do when I'm pregnant. And it's like, okay.
Mm.
And I just love where I have gotten in my journey because I had a mom at the pregnancy center. She was like, I've heard about this drink and I'm just really not trying to take it and da da da. And I was like, girl, you don't have to take the drink. You can ask for a substitute.
Yeah.
You can just tell them I want a substitute, and if they give you backlash, you can say I'm allergic to something in the ingredients or something. I
Yes.
don't know. Do whatever you got to do, and tell them like I will take the test, but I'm not taking this. I can do juice. I can eat some gummy bears. I can do whatever. Eat a pack of Skittles, whatever, to get it to trigger the sugar that y'all looking for. But
Yeah. I think this is a
um,
good like
and
what you're talking about with all of this, what you've said so many times is that you don't have to. Like I've heard
you
this
don't have
so many
to.
times. You don't have to. And I think it would be good for anyone listening to hear that. Like you don't have to do any of these things. As soon as you become pregnant, there's no rules. I think the same thing is true in motherhood. Like it's a good start. There's no
Right.
rules. Like you don't have to do anything that you don't want
Hmm.
to do, but anything that seems odd or like goes against your
Hmm.
intuition. Like if you're
Hmm.
feeling not good about something, then probably take a second and think about where this is coming from because
Hmm.
it's a big deal. Like everything that you're doing has a consequence, right? And you might go for this test and like maybe you didn't know you were allergic and you are,
Right.
or like whatever, you don't know. And they're just kind of, I always say people are anybody, doesn't have to be a doctor or a midwife. Other people are willing to take chances with your body that you're not because they're
Right.
not
That
you,
you're not.
right?
Right.
Like
Right.
they're not
Exactly.
you, so they're going to take a chance that you may not be willing to do.
Hmm.
So,
Right.
I just
And
wanted
I
to
think it
like
also,
go ahead.
yeah, I think it falls back on just a lack of, again, lack of faith in our bodies, lack of confidence in our bodies. And I think that I do run into a lot of women who just kind of just go with it because
Mm-hmm.
they don't know. And it's like they're also not in a position to find out because maybe they have other, stressors that are going on in their life, or
Mm-hmm.
they have other factors that they're more focused on. And I think that once we get back to self, and I hear this so much, like whenever I'm on social media, and I'm really not ever, but whenever I'm on social media, I hear like, get back to self, get to know yourself, and all of these different things. And it's so true for especially a woman who's trying to bring life into this world. You have to bring life to yourself first. And
Mm-hmm.
then that environment for that baby is going to be loving, it's going to feel safe, and it's going to allow that seed to thrive and to bloom and to grow and to blossom and come here, right? And in a
Yeah.
smooth way. Because at the end of the day, when you don't know yourself, when you don't have confidence in your body, then it's very easy for you to let them play with your body and
Mm.
practice on your body. I like to say they're just practicing on you. And if you want them
Yeah.
to practice on you, then that's the invitation. Go to the induction, go to the prenatal appointments, do whatever. Because at the end of the day, there is a system, but we don't have to comply with every element of this
Yeah.
system because at the end of the day, a part of this system says that you are supposed to have insurance. All
Mm.
right. And that insurance plan is attached to your name, and you are essentially paying for whatever service happens here.
Service.
And that is Medicaid, private insurance, or paying out of pocket. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Even if you are not directly paying for it, you are consenting for this invoice to go through. And you can decide, hey, I did if it doesn't sit well with you, you can decide no.
Yeah.
If it does sit well with you, you can decide what stipulation you're going to allow. Because, like I said, if you decide, okay, I want to just make sure I don't have gestational diabetes because my mom had it or whatever the case may be. But that doesn't mean you have to use this drink.
Right. You can pick
You
and
can use a
choose.
substitute, choose
Right.
an alternative. And if you like say if you have high blood pressure and they're trying to do I don't know, they're trying to do in the induction, they're trying to schedule an induction. You can manage your blood pressure throughout your pregnancy, and you can manage your blood pressure throughout labor as well. It doesn't mean that you have to be scheduled and monitored and all these things. Yes, research has started to show, and I honestly feel like they're just using special words to make it lean towards the OBs in their practice, but it has shown that being induced does reduce the likelihood of other complications or other things happening. But at the end of the day, you still have control over when that induction happens, over what they do in that induction process, and how it plays out. But I think that, again, if we don't have confidence in our own bodies to do this work, then we're going to let all of our confidence be at the hands of our provider.
Yeah.
And again, this is somebody we don't know too well. We just trust that they have this expertise because they have this uniform on.
Yeah. I have two things to say with that. So the first thing is I want to emphasize that okay, so a lot of these things really come up at the end of pregnancy, and you
Mm-hmm.
talked about this a little. I don't know if this is where you were going, but you said a lot of your clients really start to hate their provider towards the end. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm being dramatic, hate is a strong word,
Yes.
but they're not happy with how it's going. And I think a lot of it has to do too with the fact that towards the end, maybe they're stressing them out more because they're worried about,
Mm-hmm.
X, Y, and Z. But
Mm-hmm.
something else going along with that is that you know what? If you're taking good care of yourself in the beginning, we need to like harp on that. If you're taking good care of yourself, number one, before you're pregnant, but definitely in the beginning, a lot of these like scary things that are daunting at the end, like, the high
Mm-hmm.
blood pressure or the high sugar or,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
you're going to not face those probably because you are a healthy
Right,
person.
right,
So you're not
right.
going to have those problems. I think they make it seem like a lot of this stuff comes out of nowhere because doctors
Right.
are recommending that you eat hamburgers and ice cream or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
not focusing on general health to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end, they're
Exactly.
like, you could get high blood pressure, right? Or you could get diabetes. Like this
Yeah.
is not how life really works. Like maybe
Yes.
there's exceptions to every rule, right? So like there could
Mm-hmm.
be, a fit, a plant-based mom who somehow gets gestational diabetes. I mean, probably not,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
But like
Probably
there's
not. But
exceptions
she could
to the
have
rule.
preeclampsia.
Right. Like,
She could have preeclampsia super fit.
yeah.
And with that, yeah.
Right. So like there could be something, but the vast majority of women if you've taken good care of yourself up until this point are not going to be facing these issues. So I wanted to
Right.
like spend some time on that because I think it's important to recognize these things that are at the end of pregnancy that come up that scare everyone. They can be prevented in some way by taking care
Right.
of yourself in the beginning. The second
Because
thing,
again, oh,
go
go
ahead, go
ahead.
ahead.
Because I just want to say, because again, shout out to Olivia with her holistic path.
Mm-hmm.
Birth is a culmination of pregnancy.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, if you start off strong, you're gonna end strong. Even if
Mm,
there are some things that are popping up for you, and maybe you have some elevated blood pressure or whatever the case may be, those things can still be managed with the habits that you kept
mm-hmm.
from pre-pregnancy and in the very beginning of your pregnancy. So at the end of the day, I strongly believe that we must take care of ourselves, meaning we take care of our vessels, we take care of our mind, because it
Mm,
all starts here. And mentally, I think that a lot of women don't understand that philosophy, or that they don't understand the concept, because they believe that these things do come just out of nowhere.
mm-hmm.
They do feel like it's just random acts of my health, like because of the pregnancy. And
Yeah.
because they have these things like gestational diabetes, they connect it with this is just because of the pregnancy, or
Yeah.
preeclampsia is just because of the pregnancy. But no, it's because of something that your lifestyle was giving, and the pregnancy on top of it was irritating that.
Yeah.
It was advancing these symptoms. And so if we look at it from that standpoint, and valuing how we take care of our vessels, then we would probably not run into a lot of these conditions.
Yeah.
So
Everything
I'll
is
let you get to
so
number two.
No, everything is so connected. I
Mm-hmm.
garden, right? So the way
Mm-hmm.
that root systems work, right? And
Right.
so like there's
Yes.
the passion fruit. It can be an
Oh.
invasive species because of how it grows. And so I'm just
Uh-huh.
immediately thinking like the way that it grows, it's a complicated root system that will spout out like
Uh-huh.
random places around your garden. It'll take over the entire garden, but there's
Mm.
spouts in different places. Like one might pop over there, over there, over there. And if you are like walking around your garden, you're like, oh my, you're pulling individual
Yeah.
plants and it's shocking you like over here, over here. But as you
Yes.
pull the plant up, the root starts to rip up and you
Yes.
see like how connected everything is. And I
Mm-hmm.
think like, women in our society right now, they're kind of
Mm-hmm.
acting like that, where they are seeing in the medical system too, where they're
Mm-hmm.
seeing like symptoms here and there and they don't know where it's coming from, but there's a complicated system underneath that we are
Mm-hmm.
ignoring. And that's why these
Right.
things are happening. But the
Right.
second thing I was thinking about, let me make sure. Okay. The second thing I wanted to definitely check in. So, because we've said it, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, right? So, we talked
Right.
about taking care of yourself and all that stuff. You want to go into this system. Maybe you feel like it's the safest place and it's your
Mm-hmm.
right because you do what you want to do, right?
Right. Do what you
Now,
want.
you can
Right.
say no, but that's not always received well, right? We know that.
Mm-mm.
And I think
Mm-mm.
maybe some women, first of all, they number one, they're probably not realizing they can say no. But
Mm-hmm.
secondly, if they want to, maybe they get pushback, and then they give up. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering if there's any tips that you have to navigate the system, like if you want to be a part of it and saying no and how to do
Right.
that.
First, again, I have highlighted it does start with having confidence in yourself. Once
Mm-hmm.
you have the faith that your body can do this, like I had a free birth for those of you who are not knowledgeable. I
Whoop, whoop.
did. I can't be out here talking about birth and stuff, but now I can talk about birth because I had the birth that I wanted, right?
Yes.
I had a free birth at home. I did involve like the medical system to an extent because there were certain things that, I had a family history on that I wanted to check on, but I stayed in control of those things. And that was because I knew what I was capable of and I knew what I was going to allow in my experience. So I was
Mm.
able to maneuver the the medical system. And yes, I knew that I was going to have to like sign some papers for declining things and all of
Mm-hmm.
these different things, but I knew that my answer was a hard no. And if
Okay.
you have a hard no for something, then keep your hard no. The only reason why a no turns into a yes is because that no is weary. That no
Mm.
not solid. And a lot of times we walk into these hospital situations without even knowing where our solid yeses and our solid nos are. And that's where having your birth vision and really knowing what it is you want out of this experience comes in handy because when you have an unplanned pregnancy, even if you have an unplanned pregnancy and you don't even know like what to expect or what to do, you still need to have in mind what are some things that I do want to experience
Yeah.
from this? What do I absolutely want to see happen because I've dreamt of this? What do I absolutely want not to happen? And I ask my clients, like, what are you least concerned about? What are you most concerned about? Because I want to know what is something that you have no doubt in your mind that you'll be able to do. And what is
Mm-hmm.
something you have a doubt in your mind that you might not be able to do. So at the end of the day, that's helpful again, even if you have an unplanned pregnancy, so that you can hone in on your hard yeses and your hard nos. And once you have that, you go into this place, it's not going to be hard to advocate for yourself because you have your hard yeses and hard
Yeah.
nos. You can go in there and say, I said no to, I don't know, Pitocin. Let's just throw that out there. That
Yeah.
is the synthetic version of oxytocin that they offer for induction and augmentation, right? So if you know for sure you don't want Pitocin, you know this is like hard no, not happening.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into the labor space and they offer it to you, no matter how many times they ask and no matter how many times they try to persuade you to get this and tell you how beneficial it's going to be because you want to see your baby soon, no matter what,
Your baby's
you're
gonna die.
still right, right. You're still going to say no.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you say no is going to be easier each and every time because you know from the jump it was a hard no. Same
Yeah.
thing with any, but I think a lot of women go into these spaces, especially these hospital births, and they are just like whisked into the policies and the procedures. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like this is what y'all said I had to do, so I'm just gonna do it. They're very compliant and that's great. But at the end of the day, this is your birth. You're gonna walk away having this experience forever.
Mm-hmm.
Their OB is not going to be in the house with you when you're crying about how you feel violated or you're
Mm-hmm.
crying because something didn't go the way that you imagined or whatever the case may be. Nobody's cuddling you, okay? Nobody's doing that but you. You're going to be by yourself. So I tell moms to think about that. Think about when you go home, how these nurses and doctors are all in your face and convincing you about something that you have to do right now. And they're not one, thinking about the aftermath and how you're going to heal from it. And two, they're not even going to be thinking about you and this decision when they walk out of this room.
Yeah.
Truth.
There's I don't know
So,
if you know Dr. Stu from Birthing Instincts. Have
oh
you ever
yes,
heard of
burning
him?
instance. Yes,
So
I
he
have.
said, yeah, so he always says that their goal is a baby in a bassinet, a live baby
Right.
in a
A
bassinet.
live baby in a bassinet. Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
And I think
it.
that
I have
is,
heard that.
like it's good. The baby survived. The baby's alive. The mom is alive, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much a win for them to keep
Mm-mm.
everybody
No,
alive. And anything after that is,
no. Because I tell moms morbidity is a thing.
yeah.
Okay. And that's what they don't talk about in these statistics and the things that we're facing in the maternal health crisis
What
is the
is
morbidity.
morbidity? What is morbidity?
I hate having to explain this. So I like to give them the Google definition.
Okay.
Because tell them like, look, don't listen to me.
We
Look at it.
literally, I mean, I talk about morbidity a lot because it is the thing that I think is most detrimental to women.
Mhm.
They obviously survive. And so when you survive, that's great. And
Right.
your baby survives, but there's a whole other situation
Right.
going on. Okay, go ahead.
And by definition, I should probably know this by the top of my head because you know how many times I be having to look up morbidity, but I do it on purpose
That's
just
okay.
so people know that I'm not making up something, you know?
Yeah.
So it's by definition on Google, morbidity is the condition of suffering from a
Mm.
disease or medical condition. Okay. So at the end of the day, the medical condition is whatever has happened from your birth, whether that is you left with a C-section, whether you left with a episiotomy, you left with whatever, you
Mm-hmm.
left with some condition and you're not satisfied with it. You're
Yeah.
left with a dis-ease because that dis-ease doesn't have to be a diagnosis. It can be a dis-ease from the experience itself.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, you're left with this and you're suffering from the aftermath and having to heal from this because
Allowed.
you allowed them to practice
Mm.
on you.
What would you say is, I know like this isn't, you don't have to give me an exact number, but how many moms walk away with some sort of morbidity from a hospital birth? Or, I mean,
I
I'm
can tell
saying
you how
hospital
many
birth because
moms,
we're talking a lot about hospitals, but
yeah, yes, because it does happen in out of hospital births
yeah.
too. But I would say I can tell you the percentage of women that walk away with a positive experience, no regrets and no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
They don't feel any remorse
Trauma,
from their experience, right? Or any trauma from their experience. I would say it's like 7%.
7%.
Yeah. The rest,
So 7% of women you're saying that you've worked with walk
mhm,
away with a positive birth experience, essentially.
like, and they have nothing bad to
No.
say about it. Like,
Okay.
and that's in or out of the hospital. They have nothing that they're walking away with or having to unpack at the initial session. Like, they're not having none of that. They
That's
just
just,
like, yeah, I had a wonderful experience. I wouldn't change it. Da 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 da. I love my provider. I love this. I love that. And I'm so happy you were there. Like that kind of thing. Those
mhm.
stories, 7% of the time
That's just
out of 100.
unacceptable.
Right. And every other experience, it really pains me to even say this because I'm a doula and, we're supposed to be the ones that's supposed to help change the dynamics and the story, right? Give more
Hmm.
positive experience. But there are a lot of things that we just have no control over because at the end of the day, again, birth is a culmination of pregnancy. I don't have control over what you decide to do with your body and how you decide to prepare for this day.
Mm.
None. Okay. I can sit on the sidelines, but I have no control. I can encourage you, be a cheerleader. But whatever you do, that's what you do. Okay. Same thing is
Yeah.
true for when you go into your labor and birth space. And when you go into that room, and you decide whatever you decide, whether that's going against what we've prepared for or whether that is what we prepared for, I have no control, right?
Mm.
And then you go through and you experience different things that pop up that I probably have warned you about, like them suggesting to break your water or them suggesting to offer Pitocin. Maybe you didn't even need it. Now babies
Yeah.
are all distressed. You distressed, this is that, and you feeling discouraged. And then you have this birth experience that again, you weren't you didn't think you were gonna have because you trusted that your provider was going to deliver. That's the only
Yeah.
thing that they were going to deliver the birth that you said you wanted, which was a natural unmedicated. Most of the time, they come to me saying, "I want to do this
That's why
natural.
they're
I don't
getting a
want to
doula.
do epidural." Yeah, and some of them are like, "Well, I'm not opposed to the epidural, but I really want to do this natural." And those still end up with a heavily medicated birth,
Mm-hmm.
or end up with a belly birth.
Yeah.
And think that again, it goes back into having confidence in yourself because I'm gonna tell you right now, the rates of induction are ridiculous. They're
Mm.
outrageously high right now. And I think that that is because a lot of women honestly don't believe in their body to go into labor on its own.
Yeah.
And they don't believe in their body to actually birth their baby.
Yeah. It's so
And I
true.
think,
I wanted to just like wrap this like wrap up the part about saying no. So when they
Hmm.
go in, because we talked about so many things that can happen, right? And I think
Hmm.
that's a whole other like we'd have to do this again to talk about the
Yeah.
birth itself because there's so
Hmm.
many things of like what happens in birth and like what's necessary, what's not, like all of that stuff.
Hmm.
But when they're wanting to say no, you had mentioned signing papers, but can you kind of be more specific? Like what is it that they're going to have to encounter if they have a hard no
Hmm.
on something?
Okay. It depends on what that something is. Let's
Hmm.
use, because most of the time, well, when you walk into a hospital birth, towards the end, they're going to register you at the hospital. You're going to sign the consent forms. And those consent forms basically give all of the consent to the provider to do whatever it is to help you have this healthy baby and healthy mom, right? And y'all need to read that. Actually, read it. If there's
Mm,
something in there that you don't like, scratch it out, initial it, fine it in. There's so many, like, I don't want to say loopholes, but I'm gonna use loopholes for like a better phrase. There is so many loopholes to this, and you can take advantage of it and
mm,
still and have the birth that you want. If there's something you want to add to that consent form, you can add that. Like, it could be something minor, like, don't ask me if I want the epidural.
yeah.
Put that in, that kind of stuff in there. But anyway, they sign those consent forms, and that consent form is really like the um the pillow to how all of this is laid down, right? It's like,
Mm,
all right, they doing the consent form to say, like, you said we could give you whatever we needed to see that you and your baby survive. So we felt like we needed to give you fentanyl to give for you and your
mm,
baby to survive. Like, you know, it's just, that's
yeah.
a hard example, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you
That's what that
signed the
consent form says,
contract.
right? You
Yeah.
signed it, so it is what it is. But there are things, if you decline, let's say you decline a vaccine. I'm gonna just use that for example because it's easy.
Hmm.
You decide to decline a vaccine during prenatal or for your baby in postpartum. There is a document that all doctors typically have, and
Hmm.
it's a acknowledgement of decline. I think that's what it says.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah, we
it's
had to
just
sign that for
that,
Corinne.
yeah, it's just saying that you are declining the recommended care or
Mm.
recommended medical whatever. So it's just saying you'll check off the things that you're declining, and then you'll say you acknowledge that you are saying it and you are taking on the risks that come with saying no, and then you sign it in. That's on your file, right?
But you're not going to go to jail, right? Are there going to be police
No,
officers? Okay, because I think a lot of
no,
people act
that,
like you're
no.
going to be
Yeah,
imprisoned if you don't say
right.
yes to things.
And right, exactly. And that's not true because there are a lot of people that actually have religious exemptions. They just, really are not with this or that. And there are a lot of people that have, like, again, hard nose to certain
Mm,
medical procedures or medical things for their own personal reasons. And so they cannot make you do anything.
mm.
Okay. And if it becomes life threatening, that's when things start to get sticky. But at the end of the day, when it becomes life threatening, most people are going to, sway a different way.
Right.
But
They'll agree. Like, yeah, save my
yeah,
life. That's what you're
yeah,
here for.
it's right. That's what you're here for, but not to
Yeah.
do unnecessary things that are going to put my life in jeopardy. Okay.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think, yeah, there's just always this paper that you can sign. And I was going to say, there's also something that I share with my clients. Like, if they feel like they're just not super confident in speaking for themselves, or they want to make sure that they have some kind of legal document backing them up, I love that Sacred Birth Doula. No, Sacred Birth?
I think
Sacred
it
Birth.
is sacred. I know exactly who you're talking about. She has that
Yeah,
medical
Sacred Birth
form.
Doula. Yeah, she
Yeah.
has the rights over my birth package, and she has it for different states. And it's very thorough. Okay. It's very thorough. So I do recommend clients to invest in that if they choose
Mm.
to. I believe at the time that I purchased it, or I can't remember, it was like 100 something dollars,
Yeah.
which is not bad for a good document, and it's color coded red and black,
Yeah.
and it has space for it to be notarized. Once you get something notarized, it's official.
Yeah.
And you can have your provider sign it prior to, like during your prenatal period. You can
Huh.
get it notarized, and they can have this on your file and know about this before you walk into your labor and birth space.
Yeah.
And it's like they will roll out the red carpet essentially,
Yeah.
because again, for them, it's about a lot of like liability and
Mm-hmm.
just covering themselves. And that's what those consent forms are for and everything like that. So, they have their consent form and you can have your rights of my birth package,
That's amazing.
So
Yeah.
I think
I'll
I
definitely
tell
have to link that so that they know
Mhm.
where to find it because
Yeah.
I followed her before, but I need to go back and find her.
Yeah, Sacred
Okay.
Birth Doula, I believe it's her
Yeah, I'll
handle.
definitely link her because I saw that
hmm
and I think it's a great idea. I think a lot
Yeah.
of women don't know where to start. So I think we have like 10 minutes left. So
Yeah.
I was thinking to kind of wrap it up. I think we kind of got there on our own, which is
hmm
um a lot of people have trouble with knowing like where to start. So like you were talking about the hard yeses and nos. Do you have
hmm
any, obviously number one is try to find a doula. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe you could tell us like maybe how they might be able to go about finding one. And then if there are any resources that you recommend like right off the start to help start learning what is going to be important to them down the line.
Yes. I'll just give my go-to recommendations, of course.
Mm-hmm.
For any new mom, planned or unplanned pregnancy, I always say that you got to spend some time with yourself. Before you tell everybody and get all worked up and involve other energies in your experience, make sure you know and you set intention for what you want from this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, then the universe is going to have that. Okay. So
Yeah.
do your best to just sit with yourself. And I'm not saying you have to sit with your partner or your husband or your child's father and do this. It's your experience. You're going to give birth. So you need to sit with yourself and decide, what do I want from this? And that's the beginning of your birth vision. And keep that vision right here and replay it and become more detailed about it so that when you get into this space, it's a lot easier for you to advocate for yourself. And it's a lot easier for you to express the things that you want and don't want.
Mm.
So, a lot of women don't spend that time. And I spend most of my prenatal sessions encouraging mom to get into that space and really decide what it is that you want so that because birth is going to be it's very unpredictable,
Yeah.
but it's most definitely inevitable. And so you want to make sure that you at least have some kind of detail down pat. You got some detail that you would like to see come from this,
Mm.
okay? And hone in on that detail throughout your experience.
So
Now, if
you're
you
thinking like from
see,
the start, right?
yeah,
Because I
from
think
the
a lot of
start.
women are like, I'm pregnant. I'm just trying to be pregnant. I don't want to think about the
Yeah.
birth.
No, no,
Okay.
no. You need to be thinking about it right then.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, you don't really know. Like I said, it's unpredictable. Some babies come at like 30 weeks. Some baby comes at 24 weeks.
Yeah.
Like you have to be prepared for these things and you don't want to be super blindsided. You don't want to just, I don't ever want to advise a woman to just go with the flow of pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So, um, that is my number one thing that I would suggest. Of course, tapping into the birth community, explore the social media pages, get on the hashtags and see what's out there so
Mm-hmm.
that you are aware of the kind of things that you now have to start becoming more detailed about. And I don't want you to go surfing and getting all hung up on negative birth stories and birth experiences out there. Spend a little bit of time and have discernment, but you're
Mm-hmm.
only there to peep the energy, the atmosphere of the birth
Yeah.
community. So you're
So
not
maybe
blind,
like
right?
hashtag positive birth or
Yeah,
what do you mean?
hashtag positive birth, hashtag um first pregnancy, like stuff that's going to be just very general so that
Okay.
you know about, like again, like we talked about some of the tests that you can be taking or some of the things you could be doing to prepare, some things you could be eating, like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just simple stuff, but don't overcrowd the timeline or your algorithm with a bunch of birth stuff because it can get very negative, very
Yeah,
dark.
easily.
Um, yes,
What do you
easily.
feel
A
about
book stuff.
evidence-based birth?
Oh, I like it. I refer a
Okay.
lot of my clients to evidence-based birth if they're needing information about like vitamin K or if they're needing information about C-section, like it's a really good resource to tap into. I also share with my clients this book. Even if you're not a reader, I think it's a really good guide, and it's called Nurture by Erica Chidi Cohen. I think I shared this book with you, maybe.
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
so.
I had discovered it in the past couple years, so like maybe a year or two ago. But it's a really good guide. It is focused on the modern woman, so it does have that look of like what you can expect from prenatal visits today and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's not like the what to expect when you're expecting. I hate when people
Oh,
get
good
that book.
God.
It's so annoying. Like I'm just like, how many times have y'all upgraded this book and it's not even to date? Okay, it's not. So I think that the book Nurture, Erica Chidi Cohen, is a good starting point if you have any questions. But she also has tons of like mindfulness tips, and she has different journal prompts in there, like write and release opportunities, so that you can actually dig deeper within and you can sit with yourself a little more and become more detailed about your birth vision. So I always suggest that book. Okay, like I said, it's for people, even if you're not a reader. What else? I was gonna say, um, get a mom friend. Find you a mom friend that's positive. Okay, not somebody that's gonna sit up here and tell you about all your birth traumas and tell you what not to do and tell you this. Find someone who's gonna just really be a genuine friend to you, and that can be a
Mm.
doula, that can be just like a mom friend at a church home or something like that. But find somebody else that you can, piggyback your ideas off of, or just kind of get some exposure from, because that can be really helpful with, just gaining perspective. And
Yeah.
what else? Take a class, take a childbirth education class, not the one in the hospital.
I was gonna say the hospital one.
No, not the one in the hospital. Go out, come to one of my classes or
Okay. So
do
like
a
find
virtual something.
a
Yes.
doula led maybe childbirth class
All I'm,
or
I honestly think it should be just out of the hospital.
okay.
Whatever it is. I would say, even if you go to a birth center, they host classes. Those are some good ones as well. They are typically like childbirth educators or doulas. So I do think it should come from that perspective. Like it makes me a little weary to say like go to a hospital childbirth education class or go to a childbirth class that's held by a nurse or something like
Yeah.
that because it's still going to give you a specific type of perspective. But
Yeah.
I know a lot of women have a goal to have a natural birth. So if you're looking for that, you need to go find those kind of classes from people who see natural birth often. And that was one last thing I wanted to touch on when we were talking about everything. Like, that's one thing that people fail to realize. Like, your OB, like, I probably seen more births than your OB. Like,
Mm.
from start to finish, I probably have. So at the end of the day, they are very medical, and we have to understand that we can't put our trust into somebody who hasn't even seen the natural process of labor from start to finish.
I just
Like,
have to say, like, that's significant because, again, you have not just attended your own birth, but many
mhm,
other women's
mhm.
births, on top of the fact that this is your world, So, like,
Yeah,
you're you're sharing something
yes,
that a lot of people don't understand. Like, an OB, number one, is not going to be with you the entire time. So, even if you like
at
this
all.
person, they're your person, they're not going to be there. You're going to be with a nurse
Mhm,
or your birth partner, whoever that is, or
right.
a doula if you have
Mhm.
one, but they're not there. They just come in for the reception of
The
the
end,
baby.
right. Okay, but other than that, I just wanted to say, make sure that you make decisions for you. Okay,
Yes.
not for your partner, not for your friend, not for all of these other things. Make decisions for you because this is your birthday. And I
And you'll
do
never get
emphasize
another
that,
one.
right, this is your birthday. The baby's just showing up at the last minute. of
Yes.
your day. So be intentional about every aspect of it. If y'all are looking for me, I am the co-founder of Maternity Journey. We are a nonprofit and we have a mission to provide free and low-cost maternity support and resources to young first-time single moms in the Houston area. And we obviously are on the map because of our Kinsey Keeper program. That is
Yes.
where we provide that birth doula support. We do offer two doulas. So you get a primary and a secondary doula. And then you do get the birth support and some immediate postpartum support. And we also have our Get and Give program. Right now, we're currently distributing diapers and wipes to families that are parenting. And we do have select options for like maternity items. But I do want to give the small disclaimer that for the rest of 2024, enrollment is closed. So if
Oh,
you are expecting a baby the rest of this year, then we will provide you with resources to other options to receive complimentary doula support. But other than that, you can definitely visit our website at www.maternityjourney.org and follow us on Instagram at Maternity Journey, like us on Facebook at Your Maternity Journey. So that is us. And I'm just excited that I was able to connect with you
oh my
again. This is very
gosh.
much a full circle moment.
Yes.
And I just want to tell everyone that it starts with you. It
Mm,
starts with you. So if you really want to be a mom and you really want to experience birth, then it starts with you.
yeah. And it's never
And
too soon to start thinking about
yes,
this stuff and changing your
never
life for
too
this.
soon. Never
Yeah.
too soon. And it is a lifestyle change. So if you're not ready for that, then you're not ready for motherhood.
Come on. That's a whole word because like if you can't say no to these people about this, how are you
Girl,
going to go through the pressures of motherhood? How are you going
with
to
the
handle?
grandparents.
Yes, all of that stuff. So it's so important to start it now and get your mind right now. So thank
Mhm.
you so much, Kelly. This was
Thank you so
great.
much,
I feel like
Destiny.
we could
This was
talk for
amazing.
literally ever.
We could definitely do a part
Yes.
two
I
for
think we
let's
need to do
manage
a
that.
birth specific one because it's
Okay,
so you already
let's
know
do it.
there's
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do
so
it.
yeah,
So,
we'll set up a time to do this again because it will be very
yes,
helpful.
I guess the awareness that I hope to spread in this season is just encouraging women to take their power back.
Yeah, please.
Take your power back. Take your power back because y'all giving it to these white coats and it's not working out for us. Okay.
No.
So take your
And they're
power
just
back. Have your babies in the backyard. No, I'm just kidding.
I know,
No,
right?
look.
But hey, that's where I plan for all the future ones. But it's
In the
not like
backyard,
they're anywhere, wherever they want to come out, right?
wherever they want to come out, right?
All right. Let's stop it there. I'll
Yes.
send you a text and we'll figure out the next one.
Okay, perfect.
All
Well,
right.
thank you for having me. I love you a lot
I
and
love you too,
send my
Kelly.
love to the family.
I will. They're like booming out there. They're like, Mom,
Oh,
where are
I can't even hear
All
them, so
right.
that's good.
All right.
All
I'll
right.
talk to you later.
Peace.
All right, ladies. I hope that you have been truly blessed by this episode because, oh my gosh, I definitely was. I just wanted to do a little announcement that my family, my little family with my two little babies and my husband are moving across the country in less than a month. And so this is going to be the second to last episode of this season. I do plan to return, but for right now, we really need to focus on what is most important, and that is getting our house and our little children prepared to enter this new phase of life. So I'm going to be taking a break after next week. Don't you worry, I'll be back. If you have any questions or any pressing things that you want to share, you already know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and obviously on Spotify. In the interim, I may still be posting a little bit on Instagram, but largely going to be hunkering down and getting ready for this move. But I look forward to seeing you guys when we return. Take care of yourselves.